The Writings of Abraham, chapter 118. This is the account which Lot told unto me, Abraham, concerning the coming of the 3 messengers unto him in Sodom. For Lot was sitting in the door of his house in the city of Sodom, conversing with 2 of his sons-in-law, who were Sodomites, when he saw 3 men approaching down the street of the city. And the Ruach of Yahuwah whispered unto Lot, Behold, these are my messengers who bring tidings of deliverance. Lot therefore rose up to meet them, and bowing down before them said, Behold now, my masters, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, that I may wash your feet, and anoint your heads, and feed you. And in the morning ye may go on, leaving only a barakah upon the head of your servant. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street tonight, for we have heard that it is not safe to enter into the house of a Sodomite, lest we be abused and tortured and killed, and our property stolen from us. But Lot replied, Not so, my masters, for I am no Sodomite, but a true worshipper of Yahuwah, and I know that ye are his messengers, for his Ruach have shown me this thing. Then, when Lot had confessed his faith in Yahuwah, the messengers entered with him into his house, and he did set before them a feast with unleavened bread and wine. And they barak it, and partook thereof, and Lot's family also partook, and were filled. Chapter 119. When Lot's 2 sons-in-law saw him take the strangers into his home, they went straightway into the magistrates of the city, for it was unlawful in the city of Sodom to entertain a stranger in your home. Wherefore the people of Sodom surrounded Lot's house, both young and old, all the people of the city. And one of them called to Lot, and said, Where are the men whom thou tookest in thine house tonight? Behold, thou knowest that it is contrary to our laws to thus entertain strangers. Nevertheless, we will forgive thee, for thou art a mighty prince among us. Therefore bring forth the men unto us, that we may lie with them, and do unto them according to all the desires of our hearts. But Lot went out to the door to the front of his house, and securing the door behind him, he confronted the Sodomites. And Lot said to them, I pray you, my brethren, do not do these wicked things, for it is contrary to the Torah of the Most High Elohim, who is sovereign over all, to force anyone to lie with another. Repent now, therefore, that the wrath of the Most High Elohim fall not upon you, and ye with your city be destroyed. But they were angry with Lot, and they cried unto him, Stand away from the door, lest we take thee also. Thou hast come in among us and partaken of the good of our land, and we have treated thee with honor, although thou wast a stranger. Dost thou now make thyself a judge over us? And their anger increased against Lot, and they said unto him, Behold, we will deal worse with thee than with them. Wherefore we shall take thee and thy daughters, and the men who have come in unto thee, and any others in thy household who shall please us, and we will do with you according to all our desires. But Lot replied, Behold now, I have 2 daughters who have not lain with man. Let me, I pray you, plead with you, that ye take them not according to this wickedness, and abuse them according to your abominations. For the Most High Elohim will surely destroy the city, if ye repent not. Wherefore ye shall do nothing unto me, nor my daughters, nor the strangers that are within my gate, nor any of my household, for Elohim will smite you in the attempt. And their anger increased yet more against Lot, and they came near to break down the door. But the messengers of Elohim, who were Kodesh men, bearing the power of the Kehunah after Elohim's Kodesh order, put forth their hands, and pulled Lot into the house, and shut the door behind him. Then they smote the people of Sodom with blindness, so that they could not find the door. Chapter 120. And one of these Kodesh men said unto Lot, Take now all that appertaineth unto thee, whether persons or goods, out of this city, for the wrath of Elohim is upon this place, and tomorrow it shall be destroyed, because the cries of those who have been abused here have risen unto the ears of Yahuwah of Sebaot, and the abominations of the Sodomites have come up before his face. Wherefore, surely upon the morrow the vengeance of Yahuwah shall fall upon Sodom, that neither root nor branch shall be left here, for the fullness of their iniquity have come upon them, and in the fullness thereof they shall be cut off. Therefore Lot went forth at that time, and spake unto his sons-in-law, and his married daughters, and all who had gone forth with him from our camp, saying, Up, get you out of this place, for on the morrow Yahuwah will destroy this city. But his words were as foolishness unto them, and they mocked him. And Lot returned unto his house in sorrow. Chapter 121. When morning came, the men of Elohim hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wives and thy daughters who are here with thee in the house, and depart hence, lest you be consumed by the wrath of Elohim, which shall be visited upon the iniquities of Sodom. And while they were preparing to depart, Lot's heart being full of sorrow at leaving his daughters and his daughters' children to be destroyed, the men of Elohim took him by the hand, with his wives and his daughters. For Yahuwah had mercy upon Lot because of his integrity, because he had not bowed down unto false mighty ones, nor entered into the abominations of Sodom. And Lot thought to dwell in Seor, wherefore he hastened there. But his wife Addo turned back unto the city of Sodom. Addo was the daughter of Eli, the son of Eleazar, which Eli had accompanied Lot to Sodom. And Addo thought upon her parents and her daughters who remained in the city. Her heart was pained within her, and she turned back unto them and was lost. But Lot entered with the rest of his family into Seor, and was there when the cities of the plains were overthrown. Chapter 122. Then the 3 Kodesh men of Elohim came unto me, Abraham, where I was fasting and praying, nigh unto Sodom. And they lifted me up into the Shemaim, and taught me the ordinances, the key words, and the signs by which I might call down fire and brimstone upon the cities. And I did as I was commanded by the messengers of Elohim, and the cities were destroyed. And when I saw the destruction of the land, my heart was sorrowful. But Yahuwah said unto me, I have had mercy upon Lot, and have sent him out of the city, that he was not destroyed. For he was the only righteous man in all the cities. Wherefore my heart was comforted. Chapter 123. And when the destruction was over, Lot feared to continue dwelling in Seor, lest it also should be destroyed. Wherefore he took his family, and went unto the cave of Adullam, and dwelt there. And the word of Yahuwah came unto Lot, saying, Go in now unto thy 2 daughters, who are with thee, who have not known man, for they shall conceive by thee, that thy posterity shall not be cut off from the earth. So Lot went in unto his 2 daughters, and lay with them, and they conceived by him. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. And the younger also bare a son, and she called his name Ben-Ami. And Lot dwelt in the cave for 5 years, and after that he took his wives, and his daughters, and his sons, whom his daughters had borne unto him, and dwelt on the other side of Yarden. And Yahuwah barak him, and prospered him, and he dwelt in safety. Chapter 124. After the destruction of the cities of the plains, I, Abraham, journeyed to the south to the land of Gerar. Now the sovereign of the land of Gerar was Abimelech, and he was one who worshipped the Most High Elohim, and he was just and upright in all his ways. And Abimelech had entered the Kodesh order of Elohim, and was a Kohen and a sovereign after the order of the Most High Elohim, and had received the rights and ordinances of the Besorah. As a youth he had dwelt with me in the city of Shalom, and he was as a brother unto me, and we shared all things. When Sarah and I went in unto Abimelech to commune with him, the Ruach of Yahuwah fell upon Abimelech, and he baraked Sarah in great outpourings after the order of the ancients, and anointed her that she might bear Kodesh seed. And we rejoiced in the barakoth of Yahuwah unto Sarah, through the 3 Kodesh men from the city of Hanok, and through his servant Abimelech. And the Ruach of Yahuwah fell upon me also, and I barak her and anointed her, that the Ruach of Yahuwah might fall upon her in a greater outpouring, to the sanctification of herself and her seed. And we rejoiced together for 3 nights and 2 days, and worshipped Yahuwah our Elohim, and were filled with joy and shalom, in the barakoth of Yahuwah unto us. and we were magnified in Yahuwah. Chapter 125. The next night, after Sarah and I had returned to our camp, Abimelech was seated upon his throne, praying, when a sleep from Yahuwah fell upon him, and he slept there all that night. And while he slept, he dreamed a dream in which a messenger of Yahuwah with a drawn sword in his hand came and stood above him. And Abimelech was frightened at the messenger. But the messenger said unto him, Fear not, for because thou hast faithfully entered into the rites and ordinances of my Besorah, and hast walked a Kodesh walk before me, and did uphold Shem and Abraham after him, in the work which I have called them to do in maintaining my Kodesh order in the earth, behold, I am sent to stand by thy side, and shall protect thee against all the power of the adversary. For thy sins are forgiven thee, and thine exaltation is sure, and thou shalt dwell forever in the presence of thy Elohim. So saying, the messenger departed from the vision of Abimelech, but he felt his presence near him from that time forth, and the adversary thereafter exercised no power over him. Chapter 126. We had dwelt in Gerar 9 months when the 3 Kodesh men of Elohim again visited us, and Sarah gave birth to a son. And on the 8th day he was circumcised according to the commandment of Yahuwah to me, and I called his name Yishak. The child grew, and when he was 3 years old, he was weaned, and I made a great feast on the day he was weaned. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Shalom, with Eber his heir, and Abimelech, sovereign of Gerar, with his son Abimelech, and Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, father to Hagar and Yishmael, and all the mighty princes of the land came to the feast which I prepared. For these were the men whom I loved, with my brethren Anemram, Eshcol, and Mamre. My father Terah also, and my brother Nahor, came unto the feast, having heard that Sarah had borne a son. And we all rejoiced before Yahuwah for many days, that my son Yishak had reached the age of weaning from his mother. And from that time forth Sarah and I introduced the lad into the Mishkan, and began to instruct him in the mysteries of reverence, that he might be prepared in his youth to enter into the most Kodesh place, and be instructed there. For Shem had instructed me in the city of Shalom, that children should be instructed into the high call, from the age of weaning, which is 3 years old, that they should be instructed in the most Kodesh place from the age of purity, which is 12 years old, and that they should be endowed with power from on high, from the age of maturity, which is 14 years. But inasmuch as I had not journeyed unto the city of Shalom until I was 10 years old, I was prepared for the Barakoth of Yahuwah's house in only a few years. Chapter 127. My son Yishmael I did not introduce into Yahuwah's house in his childhood, because he was not spiritual in his nature, but he was a hunter, proficient in the use of the bow and other instruments of death. Nevertheless, Yahuwah was with Yishmael, and barak him for my sake, in all to which he put his hand. When Yishak was 5 years old, he was sitting with Yishmael at the door of Hagar's tent, where Yishmael was sharpening his arrows, for Yishmael was 16 years old at this time. And they thus sat at the door of Hagar's tent. Yishak picked up one of Yishmael's arrows and broke it. Seeing this, Yishmael grew angry, and taking another arrow, he fitted it to his bow, intending to slay Yishak. But Yahuwah touched his heart, so that he did not slay him. But Sarah saw this thing which Yishmael had intended to do to Yishak, and she was grieved at it. That night when I entered the tent of Sarah, she said to me, Let Hagar and her son be sent to dwell apart, for this day did Yishmael seek to slay Yishak. Now these words caused me great sorrow, for I did not desire to see my family divided. But that night a messenger of Yahuwah came unto me in a dream, saying, Hearken unto the words of Sarah thy wife, and let Hagar and her son Yishmael dwell apart, lest harm come upon thy son Yishak, who shall be thy heir. Chapter 128. Therefore I arose early in the morning, and took Hagar and my son Yishmael into the deserts of Arabia, where dwelt a people who were friendly to me. And there I built with Yishmael a Hekal unto Yahuwah our Elohim, that his seed might always be kept in remembrance of Yahuwah. And Hagar and Ishmael dwelt among the people of the desert and were content. And Ishmael was a mighty hunter, with the bow among them. And every year at a certain time I went and dwelt with my wife Hagar and with my son Ishmael. And when Ishmael was 20 years of age, his mother asked my consent to take him to the house of her father in Mitzrayim, for she longed to see her family again. Wherefore I gave them my barakah, and they departed into the land of Mitzrayim, where they remained 1 year. And while they were in Mitzrayim, Ishmael took to wife Meribah, daughter of Phanes, son of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. And after he had taken Meribah to wife, they remained in the land of Mitzrayim yet 10 years, and Meribah bare unto Ishmael 4 sons and 2 daughters. After this time Ishmael took his mother and his wife and his children, and returned to the deserts of Arabia. And Yahuwah barak Ishmael for my sake, and increased him in flocks and in herds, and in good things. Chapter 129. When Ishmael had returned from the land of Mitzrayim, I went as was my custom to stay with my wife Hagar and my son Ishmael. And when Ishmael was away hunting, his wife Meribah spake disrespectfully to me, and complained of my being in their tents. Moreover, she abused her children, and when I chastised her for this thing, she rose up in anger against me. My wife Hagar saw all these things, and when her son Ishmael had returned from the hunt, she complained unto him of the actions of Meribah toward me. And Ishmael came unto me, and said, My father, what shall I do with such a wife who abuseth my father and my children, and speaketh evil of me? For she had spoken against her husband Ishmael also. And I said unto him, Such a one is not fit to be thy wife, nor the mother of thy children, nor to dwell in thy tents. Wherefore give her a bill of divorcement, and send her back to the home of her father in shame, and find another more worthy than she to be thy wife and the mother of these children. So Ishmael gave unto Meribah a bill of divorcement, and sent her back to her father Phanes in the land of Mitzrayim, and his mother Hagar raised his children until he took another wife. Chapter 130. The next year Ishmael came to my camp, and when he had kissed me, and we had eaten together, he said unto me, My father, according to thy instructions, I did give unto my wife Meribah a bill of divorcement, and sent her back to the home of her father in shame. Now therefore I come unto thee to seek thy counsel concerning obtaining another in her place. Now it pleased me that my son Ishmael had come to me regarding choosing a wife. Therefore I sought among the women of my camp, and found 2 who were desirous of being wife to Ishmael, even Zola, the daughter of my wife Peleliah, and Noemi, the daughter of Kemuah, the son of Kish, who had been among the believers who met in the room of my mother in the city of Ur. And I was pleased to give them unto my son Ishmael, because he had come to me for counsel, and because he had begun to magnify his kahunah, for he did worship Yahuwah Elohim, and sought to overcome his weaknesses. And Ishmael and his family dwelt with me a long time in Gerar, and after that when I moved my camp to Beersheba, which is by Hebron. Chapter 31. And Sarah and I continued to teach our son Yitzchak and instruct him in the ways of the ancients, that he might be initiated into the Kodesh order of Elohim, and receive the Barakoth of eternal lives. And Yitzchak did know Yahuwah, and Yahuwah was with him, and did barak him greatly, because he was full of faith and love, and did good to all he met.